Jacksonville, and then I came back home for a little bit, and then I went to Houston. But hey, I kept my hands to myself, and I didn't do anything down there. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, we are touring the AFC South, and of course, plenty of players have been doing so because it's been a free agency frenzy. As you see, all these people signing 1, 2, 3-year deals and getting the big bucks, and and I'm asking for donations if they want to give donations as well. But it's a lot of people making some big moves, and we're gonna go over those moves today. I'm gonna be representing the Houston Texans, and I'm gonna talk about their moves. But I'm not gonna talk about all these moves by myself, because I just can't do that, and I don't talk that much. Well, I do, but not tonight. But what I'm gonna do is let me bring on my cast tonight. First guy I'm bringing on. He does the Drop Balls podcast. He is Mr. Chris Lewis. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for having me.
Did they bring you in? There you go. There you go. I was like, well, dang, they bring you in. Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. And of course, I'm in Nashville. I didn't do Nashville, but I did bring somebody in from Nashville. He is the Wonder Kid. No, I'm kidding. He ain't the Wonder Kid. I ain't gonna pick on him like that. But he is a draft analyst from 3-Point Conversion. He is Mr. Cortland Griffin. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Just excited to talk about this NFL free agency. It's been cool. It's been an amazing free agency so far. So we're gonna dive in this.
All right, if you would, man, go on and shift to your left a little bit, if you can.
My left or your left?
Your left. There you go.
Okay.
Well, the other way. Sorry, the other left. There you go. Oh, hold on. There you go. You almost went out the screen on me. But last but certainly not least, I do have to bring in the Jaguars beat writer and the most well-versed person I know on Jacksonville football. That is Mr. John Reed. What's going on?
Glad to be home, man, especially when you're coming from a team that went 1-15. So thank you.
Gotcha. Well, I'm glad all of you were able to make it. Cortland, I'm glad you didn't sink in a boat because it's raining hard in Nashville, Tennessee. We got the paddles out and everything, but we're going to be all right.
I had to paddle to work this morning.
Oh, you did? Hey, I was out there walking in it in rain. And, needless to say, I really wanted to do those 2 miles today. Because other than that, I don't think I ever would have been out there in rain like that. Nah. But, hey, what we're going to do tonight, we're going to break down each team's free agency. We're going to talk about some trades, a little bit of what all they've done in free agency, re-signing people and trades. And just see what people think about their teams. All right, we're going to come to you first, Chris.
All right.
We're going to talk about these Indianapolis Colts.
Yes,
now,
sir.
The first big move they made, of course, they traded for Carson Wentz. So that was a huge move. Then the next move, of course, that I want to talk about, it was pretty recent. They re-signed T.Y. Hilton. I didn't know what was going on there. I thought he might leave, but he came back. Other moves that happened, okay, you signed linebacker Isaac Rochelle, tackle Sam Levi. I think those were both one-year deals, if I'm correct. Let's see, Marlon Mack, you bring him back, Xavier Rhodes, and other than that, not a ton of moves for the Indianapolis Colts. What were your thoughts on their free agency?
So for me, this is normal because Chris Ballard, ever since he's been the GM, he doesn't make big splash plays in the free agency. So, for what he did, I'm good with that because we make our moves in the draft. And then, so I'm good with what they did. I like the offseason or the free agency. I like the the trade for Carson Wentz. I was actually like hype about that one. I have been saying that ever since Carson Wentz got benched. I was like, hey, bring him to Indy. Get him back with Frank Wright. So I'm good with everything, all the moves we made during free agency and even before like everything became official.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, up next are the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I might have needed like 2 pages for all the signings that they made, but we gonna try to hammer it out.
Yeah.
All right, John, we're gonna try to hammer it out.
I might have to have my cheat sheet.
We've got Shaquille Griffin, which 3 years, $44.5 million, $29 million guaranteed. As they say in the industry, the big bucks. All right. We got Marvin Jones, 2 years, $14.5 million, $9.2 million guaranteed. Then of course we got Philip Dorsett that's coming there, which it amazes me how he keeps getting contracts but doesn't catch any passes. But that's another story. You've got tight end Chris Manhertz comes over from the Carolina Panthers. Tight end James O'Shaughnessy signs back. You got safety Rayshon Jenkins, a 4-year deal. Tyson Alualu goes back to the future and comes back from the Steelers. You've got Sidney Jones that signs back. Carlos Hyde goes to play for his college coach down there, and which is a 2-year deal worth $6 million. You re-sign Dwayne Smoot to a 2-year deal worth $14 million. Re-sign Trey Herndon. Roy Robertson Harris, 4-year deal, $24 million, $14 guaranteed. And then you bring in the backup QB in C.J. Beathard. What do you think about all this money they spending down there? And can I ask, if Urban needs a water boy that he wants to make the highest paid water boy in the NFL, tell him holler at me next time.
I'll tell you this, Mike. When you look at this team, they had the most money to spend, about $73 million. They didn't get Jonnu Smith. They didn't get a tight end, basically. You got Manhertz, who's basically a blocking tight end. You didn't really get a big name pass rusher. I do think that Jihad Ward is good, and the trade that they got from the Saints with Malcolm Brown is pretty good. But man, when you got that amount of money, you would think that you would. I was thinking they were going to have a splash. There's no splash in all those names. Shaq Griffin is a great cornerback that would help them tremendously, but I just thought that they would address the need. Like I didn't think they would go get a left tackle, especially the guy from San Francisco. But I don't think they addressed all they needs, in my opinion. I think that a lot of players, this is probably, since I've been covering the team, they've never, winning free agency and grabbed 12 players. So that's something different. But, you think that a team that has that amount of money, and I think they need a bigger name, not so much to attract fans, but when you're talking about bringing in Trevor Lawrence, and I think the biggest problem with this team coming into free agency, they just didn't have enough established stars. And looking at this free agency list, with Shaq Griffin is a good player, Tyson Alualu is a good player, Malcolm Brown, but I still don't think they got that. I don't think they got that. And maybe it was because they couldn't get that big name guy to come to Jacksonville for all the circumstances of just didn't want to be on a losing team. But man, that's a lot of money. Then they spread the goods. But man, when you won in 15, you wanted to strike a splash, and they didn't do that. So that's my opinion about it. They got some good players, but still this team got so many holes, man. And I think when you won in 15 and Urban Meyer, you're trying to start something new. I think you go out and get the top player if you at least try, make a successful attempt, but get the top player at certain positions, and they obviously didn't do that, except at cornerback. I think Shaq Griffin was the best available cornerback.
Gotcha. So basically what you're saying is they look like Swiss cheese, and in the free agency, a high-paid sprinkle. basically.
Dang.
Well, let me give you an example, man. I mean, Carlos Hyde. I mean, come on, man. I covered Carlos Hyde when he was in Jacksonville in 2018, and Carlos Hyde didn't want to go into the game. You know, he refused to go into the game, and he was complaining about getting like, I think that season in 18 he had like 58 carries. And I can specifically remember after a game, I think they was in Buffalo, where he specifically he almost like grabbed me and wanted to express that, hey, I'm here on the team. I can run. I can help this team. We losing, so I don't understand why I'm not getting any carries, you know. And the fact is, yeah, he came back because Urban Meyer is here, and he had a lot of success at Ohio State with Urban. But man, you're talking about a guy who was cut. He didn't get any carries. They gave up a 5th round pick, and he's back in Jacksonville. Out of all the picks, I think that was the one that I thought was like the biggest surprise, you know. And then
I cracked up when I saw it. I must admit.
What makes them
I did too.
he's going to get a lot of carries now? I mean, they got a good running back, man, over 1,000-yard rushes. So I didn't really understand that move, but it is what it is. This is Urban Meyer's world, so I understand what that means.
Hey, I'll say this. I will look at him and wonder how many times he's gonna hurt his arm lifting that water bottle up, drinking that water on the sideline. I'm gonna wonder about that, but you know, I got to move on to the Titans with Cortland. We got let's see who we got here. We've got Bud Dupree, who actually said that he wanted to come here when he was a free agent last year, but he was a restricted free agent, but he just did end up here. His deal averages $16 million a year. You re-signed Jayon Brown to a 1-year deal, which he didn't get what he wants on the market, so it is what it is there. Denico Autry. Hurt the Colts there, buddy. Hurt the Colts there, Chris. Brought him to the town, 3-year deal, which is unusual for a multi-year deal for a guy that's roughly, 31, 32 years old? So that's pretty unusual. You got Josh Reynolds. You signed Josh Reynolds to a 1-year deal from the Los Angeles Rams. You re-signed Anthony Fersker. Brought in Kendall Lamb, 2-year deal from the Cleveland Browns, which for those that don't remember, he's the guy that caught a touchdown pass against the Tennessee Titans when they played here last year. Let's see, Janoris Jenkins, you bring him in, re-sign Jeff Swain. You bring in long snapper Morgan Cox to a 1-year deal from the Baltimore Ravens, which that was an interesting move. Kevin Johnson from the Cleveland Browns, 1-year deal. You re-sign Tyson Bryo, bring in linebacker Ola Adeniyi. I may have butchered his name, but hey, I'm sorry. And then you re-sign fullback Kerry Blasingame, which he's a Vanderbilt guy. So not many people know that, but hey, he's a Vanderbilt guy. I had to say that. My wife's a Vanderbilt alum, so hey, I guess I'm contractually obligated by the show to say he was a Vandy alum. But anyway, we'll go to Cortland. What you think about the pickups and the re-signs with the Tennessee Titans?
Well, I think in terms of the AFC South, I think we had maybe the best offseason out of all 4 teams. When you look at the ability that, we look at John Robinson's history, he normally, me and you both know, he normally goes mid-level, and then a bunch of depth guys. And this year, he actually went out and got a big name in Bud Dupree and a guy who's a sleeper pick, in my opinion, in Denico Autry. If you look at what Denico Autry did last year with the Colts, with his ability to just be disruptive, and then look at his stat sheet as far as like from his time when he was with the Colts to now being the Tennessee Titan, he's been very disruptive as an interior defensive lineman, which is something that hurt us and has been hurting us since Jarrell Casey has been the lone one, that lone one guy that we had, and we let him go last year, and Big Jeff came on at the end of last year, and then all of this year. and in my opinion, had an all-pro season. So you add the Nico Autry, slot him into where maybe Daquan Jones is, and then you have Bud Dupree coming off the edge along with the young pass rusher, Harold Landry. This offseason, I think you won the offseason. Kevin Johnson he's a very good long man cover corner. You put him in there. Christian Fulton is going to be looked upon to be, the guy now that Adoree Jackson is gone, and also Malcolm Butler left. And then you got Malik Hooker, who in my opinion is one of the better young strong safeties, and he's going to be slotting in to where Kenny Vaccaro was. So when you look at all these signings, I think we had a very good offseason for what it is and what it has been so far. And then Josh Reynolds, to me, like last year, I wrote an article stating 30 receivers that would have a breakout season, and he was one of my ones. He was one of the guys that I felt like would have a breakout season. Was it a breakout as far as being an all-pro guy or being a Pro Bowl guy? No, but it was a breakout season as far as his production because he was looked at more. Definitely with injuries like Cooper Kupp just now coming back. I think Jared Goff and Sean McVay really looked at him as a hands guy, and that's what he's played as. And his size is 6'3". I believe he's like 200 pounds soaking wet. He's a route technician. You get him with more consistent catching ability than Corey Davis, around the same size and less money. I think that's a big pickup.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, you definitely kind of broke it all down for me there. Definitely. It was definitely interesting. You said that Malcolm Butler left, but honestly, he was shown the door. Let's be real here. It is sad to see him go, though. It is.
You know how the media, you know how we do. We can't say fired and then amicably departed. It was a mutual decision to depart.
They tell us we get fired if we lose our job. We gonna tell him he get fired. He got fired. But we'll move on. We're gonna talk about these Houston Texans. We have to talk about them. They are part of the AFC South.
Unfortunately.
We did talk about Jacksonville. We have to talk about the Houston Texans. So, all right, here we go. They signed cornerback Desmond King, which he used to be with the Tennessee Titans. He got traded there from the Los Angeles Chargers to a one-year deal. Signed Tyrod Taylor to a one-year deal, worth up to potentially $12.5 million. Trade for Ryan Finley from Cincinnati, which he was the backup there. Trade for Shaq Lawson from Miami and send McKinney to Miami. You bring in linebacker Joe Thomas. You trade for tackle Marcus Cannon from the Patriots, which there probably was a favor to the new Houston GM, but I digress. Linebacker Kevin Pierre-Louis comes in. You bring in Andre Roberts from the Buffalo Bills. Linebacker Christian Kirksey from the Green Bay Packers. Dante Moncrief, honestly, I don't even know if I remember the last team he was on, just to be honest. But he's been on the field. And then you bring in, top it all off, we bring in wide receiver Chris Connolly to the Houston Texans. So looking at this roster of talent, it reminds me of a movie that I hold near and dear to my heart. It was a movie that starred Keanu Reeves at quarterback. When he had a tight end that was deaf, he had a wide receiver that couldn't catch passes, and he had two offensive linemen that were probably gangsters playing on the field, pretty much. But so the movie I'm talking about is The Replacements. That's the movie I'm talking about. That's what this team reminds me of, because every guy that I just named has been replaced by somebody in the NFL. Desmond King, he got replaced twice with the Los Angeles Chargers. Tyrod Taylor, we need to go over his history. Do we need to go over his history? Buffalo, Cleveland, the Chargers, the doctor punctured his lung. So, yes, he got replaced too. Shaq Lawson, you're there 1 year in Miami, and then you go. It just, I don't, what happened there? We lost one. Hold on. Let me bring it back, John. Sorry about that, John. But let's see. Then you have I got a little excited. I think I pressed the button. But let's see. What's it? There he goes. There he goes. Sorry, I was trying to get you back. Then we have, let's see, Joe Thomas. And I remember him in Green Bay. He got replaced in Green Bay. Then he gets replaced in Dallas too. So he got a double on that one. Then you got Marcus Cannon. He sat out last season, which I understand why he sat out. But he got traded. So I'm not gonna go hard on Marcus Cannon. Andre Roberts, he good return guy, so I give him that. Christian Kirksey, yeah, he got replaced in Green Bay. And Dante Moncrief, honestly, I did not expect this contract to happen with Dante Moncrief. But then again, they won up that one, and they gave a contract to Chris Connolly, which I'm still trying to understand. Jacksonville, he played there, but did anybody really remember him there? I don't. I don't remember him. Last place I remember him was Kansas City. So, other than that, I don't think it's necessarily anything to write home to. Write home about. But Houston, they did make some signings. One thing they're guaranteed: they're not going to be on the salary floor this year. They're not going to be on it. So that's all I got for Houston right now. Sorry if this offends any Houston fans. But let's be honest here. Did that list inspire you in any way to think that Houston can win this division? If you're saying yes, then outside of your house, there's a van pulling up, and they're going to be drug testing you immediately. All right. So that's Houston. Okay. So we went over the signings and talked about them, but we did have one guy actually had a question, so I'm going to segue real quick. We do have a question from Aiden Ackert. And here's the question right here. Here it goes. It's popping up on your screen. Should pop up on the screen right now. Yep. Where is Sammy Watkins going to go? Does anyone want to take it, or does everybody want to jump in?
I can touch on that just because he's been tied to Tennessee for the last week, I believe. I honestly believe that Sammy Watkins could make a return to the Rams. Honestly, I don't think he's going to sign anywhere in the AFC South. If he does, it's going to I feel like it'll probably be Jacksonville or Tennessee, just because those two teams can really use a pass catcher. But definitely with Jacksonville, I believe losing DJ Shark in a trade to Baltimore, I believe, or was that just a proposed trade?
That was a rumor.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a proposed trade. Okay, but DJ Shark, in my opinion, he's a number one. Sammy Watkins is now in his older age a great complimentary number two. I think he works well in Jacksonville. Definitely, if you're going to get a quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, and then in Tennessee, of course, we lost Corey Davis. AJ Brown is a great receiver. Then you lose
Adam Humphries.
Yeah, you lose Humphries. As much as I like Reynolds, he worked a lot out of the slot, and I believe that Sammy Watkins can come in and play that Dez Bryant type role that he played. That they had him in Baltimore, where he just comes in and plays the outside receiver role, and they kick their normal starter into the slot, which is you have Reynolds. So Reynolds will probably be the starter. Watkins comes in nickel or in 3 wide receiver sets and plays the outside receiver. So if he does sign the AFC South, you can almost book probably is going to be the Titans, and I think Jacksonville who have the most money left over, I believe, in the AFC South right now. The Colts are pretty well off at receiver, I believe, with them re-signing T.Y. Hilton, and then also having the youngster Michael Pittman. So, but honestly, I think the Rams have pretty much looked, kind of, they lost Reynolds to us. So then Watkins was drafted there. I can see him making a return there too. So,
excuse me, sir. You mentioned Jacksonville and you mentioned Tennessee.
Right.
But, he kind of made the visit. The guy that's sitting right below me in this little little
Yeah,
situation we got?
he came to Indy.
He kind of came and visited Indy. So, you
Oh,
know,
I didn't
Indy's
see
kind
that.
of
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
My fault. I haven't seen
But-
that, so I didn't know that.
But I'm
Oh, okay.
hoping Indy doesn't sign him. Like you said, we got T.Y. Hilton back, and that was the same day that that Watkins had his visit, was when we re-signed T.Y. Hilton. Honestly, I could see him going to the Ravens. I know he visited the Ravens the other day, and they need to get. I mean, he's not really a number one receiver, but they do need to get Lamar Jackson, another receiver, in that receiving room. The only thing with Sammy Watkins is he can't stay healthy. So that's part of the reason I don't want him in Indy, but I can see him going to Baltimore for sure.
I was wondering when somebody was going to say that. Cortland, I am so mad at you for that. How you not mention he never stays healthy, man?
Well, I was trying to be positive. I was trying not to give the man. I mean, you know, I was trying not to give the man a negative. We don't know what GMs is watching this.
But you can't throw a little. You know, positive and negative in there. But
his injury Sammy Watkins' injury history, it does precede him. But if you look at his production as opposed to his injuries, he's never not been a producer. When he signed to Kansas City, I'm trying to get it out. When he signed to Kansas City, a lot of people felt like, oh, they got an injury-prone guy. The Bills did a great job of letting him go and moving on from him. And I looked at it and I'm like, but y'all do realize that Sammy Watkins is one of the better route runners in the NFL. He has very consistent hands. He's a deep threat. When he's healthy, he's a deep threat. And he's still one of the fastest guys. I think he still has some kick to him when it comes to the acceleration department and speed department. So even if you throw the black mark of the injuries in there, that's one black mark to a guy who's been a Pro Bowler, has all pro ability, has, you know, like I said, and all the other, you know, accolades and attributes that are listed with your hands, route running, speed. And he can come in and be a steadying presence with his veteran acumen in a wide receiver room. Definitely with a team with a lot of young receivers. So, like Chris said, I don't see him going to Indy. I don't see where he would. I mean, unless he's going to. Did you guys lose Pascal?
Nah, we got Pascal. Well, it's a free agent tender, like, so.
Okay,
it has to be
signs
matched, yeah.
Right, they can match it. So the tender, unless somebody signs him to a $10 million deal, which is highly unlikely, unless it's Houston, they might pull it out. or the Jets, they might overpay. They overpay for everybody. I don't see it happening. So I don't see it happening. I mean, Sammy Watkins can come in and be a coach. I would hate to see that, because the coach for some reason finds some way to get World War III like weaponry around their quarterbacks. So I would hate to see it. But Sammy Watkins is a consistent receiver. He's going to find a job somewhere, and it may be before draft day or after draft day. And most likely after draft day. That's where you see a lot of the veterans that you thought were going to get signed.
And I predict he won't be coming to Jacksonville. Not after they signed Marvin Jones for
Yeah, I forgot about Marvin Jones.
Yeah.
So I forgot about Marvin Jones.
Yeah, that's the veteran down there, Marvin Jones.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. I'll say this: if this was the Sammy Watkins that I don't know, Sammy Watkins, I kind of compare him to Samson. You know, here's why. When he first got in the league, he had the dreads. He was killing folks. Then when he cut his hair, he wasn't the same guy anymore. It's almost like he lost his powers. So, if you can get the Sammy Watkins with the dreads, yeah, bring him back.
He growing them back.
Yeah, it might be a reason why.
Even Samson got his powers back for the last hurrah.
Right, and like I said, watch out. If to answer, just to piggyback on Aiden's question, is just to give him a sure answer, I think he's going to go to the Rams. I don't see why he wouldn't go back to the Rams and make a return there. Because it makes so much sense. I know we're not talking about the NFC West, but it makes too much sense. The Rams are. Sammy Watkins would fit there. He's more of a glorified receiver, outside guy. Cooper Kupp is 2 years removed from the injury. It should be back in good shape. I think Robert Woods is still there. So you lose Reynolds, and you get some consistent hands and route running in there. Give Matthew Stafford something to throw to, and you lost. They lost Everett to Seattle, so he fits.
I'll say this. I don't know if he necessarily fits just because they signed Deshaun Jackson, and then plus also looking at that team.
You want to talk about hurt? You want to talk about?
Yeah, I know he hurt. Well, we know that one.
You don't want two of them on this team, though.
But you got
Sammy will play 10 at least.
But you got Van Jefferson there too that they believe in. So you got to think on that one too.
Yeah, but Sammy Watkins will at least give you 9 to 10 games. Deshaun only gonna give you week 1, and then he gonna have about he'll have like an ESPN top 10 between week 2 and 6, and then after that he either gonna disappear or he gonna be in the training room.
Can we just my boy Mr. Controversy, he said something on this show, and this reminds me of these two guys. When they get injured, like Mr. Controversy, I'm giving you your credit, man. I'm giving you your credit, so don't come for me. Please don't come for me, but I'm giving you credit. But he said basically, those guys that get injured and the guy in the training room, the trainer, is looking for him already. These two guys are those guys. So,
what did he say? Oh man, hey, about time.
Yeah, about time.
I'll see you again in about 2 weeks.
Right. Man, I couldn't stop laughing when I heard that. I really couldn't. But all right. Well, we did answer that question, and of course, Aiden is a Colts fan, so you found a kindred spirit there, Chris.
There we
Another
go.
Colts fan. Let's see. Well, let me move on with the show. Got to keep going on. I know people ain't trying to stay up all night and hear us just be silly, but I'm pretty sure Cortland will come back too. He probably gonna hit a button on his phone that got excited talking about the football and everything.
It probably went dark or something.
I don't know. He might have had power go out. Who knows? But let's see. The next thing I want to ask you, what do you think? Who do you think is the best player your team signed, and why? I'll start with you, Chris.
So, is it just free agency or like trade or whatever?
Just in general.
Like
what they fit a need. It doesn't have to be necessarily the quarterback, which you might go to, but hey.
I'm not going to go corner. For me, it's going to be Xavier Rhodes, and the reason that is because we needed to bring a cornerback. Either we need to address it in the draft, or we had to address it in free agency. And so Xavier Rhodes last year played all 16 games, kind of rekindled his career too when he came over to Indy. And that's one of the things, just change of scenery. It's always a good thing. And so like last year, got to pull up my little stat sheet a little bit. But last year, he was thrown at 75 times and they only completed 38 passes when he was thrown at. So, I mean, that's a 50% completion percentage, which I'll take that any time of the day. Because you're not completing a lot over there. It's pretty much 50-50. Either you're going to bat the ball down or they're going to catch it or whatever. So he was solid for us last year. So I think that was the best signing. Now, I mean, I know we do need left tackle help because what's his name? Costanzo retired. But I think we addressed that in the draft because I don't think the dude from the Chargers is going to replace him.
Yeah, Mr. What is his name again? Mr.
Sam Tevy.
Sam Tevy. Yeah. I was like, Sam Tevy, who is it?
Yeah, I mean, he played for the Chargers. He started like all 16 games last year, but he lets up a lot of sacks. He lets up a lot of sacks. So I don't. And knowing our offensive line, we're not trying to let nobody hit our quarterback.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry, I had a technical difficulty over here.
Yeah. But I thought you got swept up. I was about to say, man, I might have to come out there in West Nashville and come find you, man.
Hey, it's all right.
But let's see. Well, since you're back in the screen, man, we're gonna talk about who do you think was the best signing for the Tennessee Titans? And why?
I'm gonna give somebody this some shock value for any Titans fans that's watching. Danico Archer was the best signing the Titans could have made, and the reason I say that is because he feels the need that we've needed, and he feels a hole that's bigger than the edge rusher. Bud Dupree is great. Don't get me wrong. And he's a close second, and only for the reason of his salary cap number. His cap hit was only, I think it's under $6 million. So if you want to say Bud Dupree, that's great. But Danico Archer is a big body. He's an athletic body. He moves the pile. He's great in the run game. He gives pressure up the middle. If you look at most quarterbacks and most sacks in the NFL, when you get guys with good pressure off the outside, normally it's because those guys up the middle are putting the interior defensive or offensive lineman in the quarterback's lap. That disrupts the quarterback more than guys off the edge. Why? If I'm a quarterback, if I'm Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson, or one of those guys who are mobile, even Aaron Rodgers, for example. You give me good pressure up the edge, I can step up and still keep my eyes downfield, and then that gap in between the guard and the tackle, they're gonna take off into that. So and that hurt us a lot last year. I looked at a lot. I watched every Titans game, and what killed us a lot was you get guys pushing up the field, and no one is coming up the middle to kind of on cleanup duty. Jeffrey Simmons was the only guy. He was feeling what Jarrell Casey felt for the first 7 years of his career, being the only guy in the middle of the Titans defense that could get consistent pass rush. Now you add Danico Archer into that mix, and it doesn't matter who you got coming off the edge now, because those guys now have time. Along with like a revamped secondary, those guys that have time to get to the quarterback off the edge, because you'll have some guys that can come up the middle. And when those quarterbacks step up, they're going to be stepping up into 6'4" and 6'6", 300 plus coming up the middle on you. So, I think the Danico Archer filled that hole for us, and it's one of the biggest or the biggest signing for Tennessee.
When I see those two together, I think of tag team for those two. And, I started thinking about that Geico commercial. That's my favorite commercial. Chocolata, 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 chocolata. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it, man.
You might
Sprinkles. All right, sorry. I had to say it one time. I couldn't help it.
Hit up Mike Keith. You might have something going there.
Oh no, man. No, I don't think I ever want to perform there to sing that ever. But yeah, it's probably like a one-time only performance. But yeah, that's one of my favorite commercials anyway. But hey, I can't help it. All right,
good commercial.
We're gonna head to Jacksonville.
Man.
The best signing and why, Mr. Reed?
I think I'm caught between Shaq Griffin and Malcolm Brown. I think Shaq Griffin, leadership-wise, the guy coming off of winning franchise, with Seattle. Obviously, he's coming here to be the number one corner, which he will be, and takes so much pressure off of C.J. Henderson. I thought that C.J. Henderson, being a first-round draft pick and being thrust into, I just thought he was thrust into the NFL, man, starting from the jump, and really didn't have a lot of leadership in that secondary, and I just thought that put too much pressure on him. And now you have a guy experienced with Shaq. He's been around the block. He can take on those top receivers. Good guy in one-on-one coverage, and I just think his value, but beyond his talent, this is leadership for Jaguar defense that's got more holes than Swiss cheese, probably. But I just think that's a good addition. And I like Malcolm Brown because I thought last year this team biggest problem, they couldn't stop the run at all. And you're looking at an experienced guy, been with New England, he's been with the Saints, a guy who can take on two blockers, can feel that interior. If you don't stop the run, you at least clog up the middle and allow those linebackers to have open lanes to make the tackles. So, and even though they didn't sign him in free agency, they got him in a trade. It's just remarkable to me that he said this week, man, that out of all the places he could have went, and I don't know if he was doing this just for just making a good impression. But man, this guy could have went anywhere. And to go to a 1-15 team, and I think he's been in the playoffs on a playoff contended team, Super Bowls, and all that over the last 5 or 6 seasons, and to come to a 1-15 franchise and feel happy about it. And he likes the talent that they added and the talent that they have. I mean, that says a lot. And I think he's going to be a big contributor. But everything centers around defense, I think, with this football team. I think offensively, they had a lot of holes, but you can't win the way this team played defense last year. So adding, quality at the corner, quality on the defensive front can only help. But, they still got some holes to fill, though.
Gotcha. Yeah, Jacksonville did. So you saying that Malcolm Brown said that he wanted to come to Jacksonville?
Well, he said that. But yeah, basically that's what he said. He said that he couldn't have found, it couldn't have been a better place. I mean, he's got a relationship, with assistants, and I don't know. I don't know if that was just sugarcoating it or he meant it or what. But yeah, he said.
Well, I'll say this: if he was Pinocchio, his nose would have grew as long as the river now.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a lot of guys that that go to these, ho-hum franchises, and they really want to be there. Why? Because what's a better stop than to say you helped a 1-15 franchise or a franchise that's been pretty bad for the last, or for the better part of a decade.
Mm-hmm.
Revive and pull themselves out the ashes. I think a lot of these guys, I think we give them crap because we're media members and also fans, but I think a lot of these guys, when they make these decisions and they go to these teams that you're like, wow, he signed there. They want that credit. Ego is a big part of being an athlete, and me being a former athlete, my ego is pretty big. And believe me, if I was in the NFL right now and you said, hey, you can go to Jacksonville and you can be the sole reason that they shoot and skyrocket and maybe become a playoff team, sign me up.
All right.
All about
it makes sure the check don't bounce too, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Make sure my money there. I can't go to my family and be like, hey, so I took a pay cut to go to a really bad team. Like, no.
Jacksonville had the money. You gotta go where the money at.
You think Charlie Strong would make him into a superstar? So he likes that aspect.
That, and he's also playing. He also doesn't have to come in and be a starter with Jacksonville because they have a starter. So, and he's a very good complimentary back. So yeah, I think he's good. A two-headed monster. When Jacksonville has been good, they've always had like a good receiver, a quarterback that can get it there, a solid offensive line, and a two-headed monster in the backfield. So,
well, now they about to have a three-headed monster with Carlos Hyde.
Yeah, man, it's them in Houston. Man, I don't know them in Houston, dude. It's a lot. No, Houston is the team that got the log jam at running back. I've never seen so many
Hold
guys.
on. Don't steal my shine there, Mr. Griffin.
My fault, Mike.
Don't steal my shine.
He said that, and I just looked at.
I know. It happens, man. You gotta learn these lessons, man. So when you graduate high school and go to college, man, you'll know all these things. I'm sorry, man.
I can't go crazy.
But let's see. I'm gonna talk about these Houston Texans again, and I'll say this: if Cole, if you watching, man, hey, look, I'm just spitting it how I see it, man. All right, what player was the best player they signed and why? I'm gonna go with Tyrod Taylor because let's be honest. Look at all the times Tyrod Taylor has been Wally Pippen his career. He's been Wally Pippen his career in Buffalo. He's been Wally Pippen his career in in Cleveland. He was Wally Pippen last year with the Los Angeles Chargers. So I think this is his Wally Pipp award that he's receiving from the Houston Texans. The owners got together, said, "Hey, we need to give this man his just due. Give him an award for taking these starting jobs and losing these starting jobs and going somewhere where he knows he's going to end up losing his job. So we need to give him an award for that. In Houston, you're the team to do so this year. So that's why I think he is the best signing there, just for the humanitarian effort of the NFL to give him the Wally Pipp Award and give him $12.5 million to lose his job again to somebody. We don't know who it's going to be. It's going to be somebody, but we just don't know. It might be Ryan Finley. Ryan Finley might have got traded there and take his job. It might be the case. But anyway, anywhere it goes, we're going to give him, NFL gave him the humanitarian award with this contract.
Tyrod Taylor still got something left in the tank.
Oh, he does, man. And with whatever he's got left in the tank, he's gonna pass it on to the next guy as he sits down on his clipboard.
You gotta really, here's why I gotta disagree with you, right? If you remember the year that Tyrod Taylor was with the Bills and they had a chance to make the playoffs, I believe.
I think they went to the playoffs.
They actually went to the playoffs, right? Because
yeah.
I think we missed. I think we ended up missing the playoffs, and they made the playoffs that year. Tyrod Taylor is a very good quarterback, and the reason I bring that up is people were talking about how good Tyrod Taylor was as far as his accuracy, his ability to throw on the run, X, Y, and Z. Then I just think he's made really bad decisions on or he's got he's drawn the really bad card. Like he's drawn the skip and the reverse and Uno, and the person the person that goes before him got the draw 4. So they smack him before he can even get his he's already thinking about the moves he's going to make. This is not that kind of situation. Watson is essentially out the door. Without the allegations going on, we can essentially say that some teams are going to take him, off Houston's hands if they don't release him, depending on how these allegations and the sexual assault thing goes. So you go into this season, Tyrod Taylor knows he's the starter. Last year, we know hindsight 2020, that Justin Herbert was looked at as the starter anyway, and I believe they paid that doctor to puncture that man's lung. You can't tell me no different. I'm sorry. So he's now going to Houston where he's going to be the starter. Their offensive line is essentially non-existent. That might be the only reason he loses his job is to injury. But I don't see any guy behind him unless they go draft a guy like Kyle Trask out of Florida, or they get a guy like Mac Jones or somebody. But they don't have a first or a second round pick. So
nope.
That's up in the air unless they trade some fantasy player, or something like that. Like I don't see them making that kind of move. But so Tyrod Taylor is your quarterback for at least this year.
Okay. Just remember I said it. He'll get replaced somehow, some way.
That's a lot. That's a lot coming from a Titans fan. Like I hate the Texans. I think I hate the Texans a little bit more than I hate the Colts. And and the Jaguars, and that's it, because the Texans have been the Texans were like the little brother that, you didn't like, that you like, man, okay, they start, like when they first came in the league, it was like, they suck. But they always play us hard. They always make it, and one of our players for some reason always gets hurt. A key player always gets hurt when we play Houston for some reason. So I developed a very strong hatred for that team and that franchise. But I believe that of course, they are rotten to the core as far as the brass goes and everything else. But, Tyrod Taylor he's the lone bright spot in a very dark hole right now.
What's going to happen with Tyrod Taylor is either he's going to get hurt or he's going to have one of those games, like I believe with the Browns, where he just came in and performed poorly for the first quarter, and they pull him and put in the quarterback. Like it's the same. Yeah. It's the same thing that happens all the time with Tyrod Taylor. I think he's a good quarterback. Like, don't get me wrong. and I don't think he's gotten his fair shot. That's up with the Bills, but like
Right.
that's just what happens with him.
And then he's also.
I agree.
Also,
I agree, Chris. I agree.
also look
He's
at
a good
Tyrod
quarterback.
Taylor. But also look at Tyrod Taylor. Every time he's gotten replaced, who is he being replaced by? A young
Rookie.
gun. Yeah, right.
A rookie quarterback. Yep.
Yeah, Josh Allen, and then he gets replaced by
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield, then he gets replaced by Justin Herbert. They don't have that in Houston. He ain't got that problem. he like, wait, y'all ain't got no rookie? Oh, I'm good.
We'll see what happens. The draft hasn't happened yet, Corbin. So we'll see what happens.
If
They might mess around, third round pick, end up drafting a quarterback.
Man,
and Tyrod, before he even unpacks his bags, he's already packing them back up again.
Yep, because he's gonna be like, I think he might just tell them like, "Hey, yo, look, it's been nice, y'all. I appreciate the invite, man. Y'all can keep that $12 million."
No, he ain't. Yeah, I'm gonna say
he ain't gonna get back $12 million. He's gonna take the $12 million.
He gonna be like, man, I'm finna go play Canadian ball or something.
Might get Ghana Minshew.
Oh yeah, Now you made a good point there, John. Gardner Minshew, they could pull the trigger.
Could be heading to Houston.
Third, hey,
is he driving? I mean, I don't know if they traded for him. I know he can rent a car, but
he ain't gonna be in
I'm gonna stop,
Jacksonville.
man. I'm gonna stop, John. I'm gonna stop.
Gardner Minshew, believe it or not, he was the one guy I was scared when he entered the game. What was it? The second? I think it was the second. We played Jacksonville in Jacksonville, and he entered the game and he drove down and they scored 2 touchdowns. I was like, here we go again. This guy going to bite us again.
Minshew ain't got nothing to lose.
Nope. He wears short. Hey, a dude that wears short shorts and cut off t-shirts, bro, with the porn stash. That's a scary dude.
Yeah.
That's a scary dude. That's a scary man.
Oh man,
Maybe in another town though.
That's about as close to Uncle Rico as you're gonna get. That's a scary dude.
All right. Well, let's take a different outlook here. We're gonna do a different outlook. Okay. All right. Let's see. Who is the best player that an opponent signed? I'm gonna give you a team. And I'm just gonna say, hey, who do you think's the best player they signed? I'm gonna start with you this time, John.
Oh, man.
Who's the best player to fit on the team that the Tennessee Titans signed this offseason?
Well, I think the best player they allowed to getting away was John New Smith, man. How in the world did how did you guys let this guy leave, man?
I think they did that on purpose to him last year.
I mean, he can be a running back, he can be a tight end. You think the Titans are that good to allow a talent like that to leave?
I'm gonna tell you what, I've been beating the table on this. I've been beating the table on this, John. And hear me out as a Titans fan. We've been very good with the tight end position from the time we were Titans to now. Like Frank Wycheck, Aaron Kinney, Ben Troop, all of those guys.
Don't you throw Aaron Kinney in there. Don't you throw Aaron Kinney in there, man.
Y'all gonna stop disrespecting
No.
Aaron Kinney was a solid dude. It's a good man.
He's a solid firefighter now. That don't mean he did great tight ends.
He put out a lot of fires for us when he was going across the middle too. But Ben Troop, then you got you had my man Jared Cook.
Don't say Ben Troop no more.
Jared Cook. I'm just saying Jared Cook.
I give you that one.
Jared Cook and the rest of those guys.
Delaney Walker, man. How you gonna say Delaney Walker?
Delaney, I give you Delaney too. Who I feel like is, if he had stayed here and stayed healthy, I think he could have stamped his. I think he's still gonna be in the Ring of Honor. But
yeah, he will. I think he will too.
But with Jonnu Smith, I think what they were looking at is for Jonnu Smith to be what Delaney Walker was, and essentially he had that kind of skill set. When they drafted him, and I looked at his tape, I was like, this is Delaney Walker made over, just a younger, taller Delaney Walker. Then you start to look at, but then when you start to look at it from a fan lens, and I started looking at it as just a draft analyst and like a writer's lens. And I started looking at 500 yards, been his cap, never stayed healthy, has never stayed healthy a whole season or full season. So on and so forth, like inconsistent hands. I mean, yes, you said the versatility. He has positives in there, like, and those things, but the injuries is what really gets me. And then the inconsistent hands and the fact that he caps off every year. He has like a bit, like 2 years ago in the playoffs, he had that one big play against Baltimore. And after that, it was kind of he just kind of meandered, his way into obscurity. Last year, he had the hot start, 8 touchdowns in there. Second half of the year, you're like, well, where did he go? And people are like,
they stopped going to him.
Yeah, they
stopped going to him.
But hold up, here's the thing. When I started looking at the tape, I really looked at the tape again, and that's just why I'm kind of questioning if Bill Belichick was on some of the syrup. You know what I mean? When he made some of these picks, because I looked at Hunter Henry. I'm like, Hunter Henry didn't disappear. They were actually doubling Hunter Henry second half of the year. John Smith wasn't getting double coverage, but what was happening was he would run off and he would round off routes. And I think teams start to pick that up and start to look at, if you get this guy and you bump him 5 yards in, 4 yards into that route, he doesn't really like physicality. And as a tight end, you have to be physical. Ferguson, on the other hand, was thumping guys. Like, you stand in front of Anthony Ferguson, he was going to put a shoulder into you and thump you and catch the ball. So I think, like I said, like, I would have loved to see him go to Jacksonville. And see him drop the ball on third down. That'd been great. I would have loved it. I would have hated for him. I would have hated for him to have a Jonnu Smith Memorial game where he gives you man. I can't. Here's the thing. I'm a Titans fan, and I would have loved to have Jonnu Smith back because he fit our system, and within our system, he did his job in the system. But outside of that, like, people are giving New England the what's my man name from the Bears? The old coach.
Mike Dicker?
They're giving it the Mike Dicker award for signing 2 tight ends. And I'm like, Jonnu might be the number 1 guy out there because Hunter Henry stays hurt. But I'm like, what happens when he has that high ankle sprain, or when he comes back and he has a thigh bruise or something crazy or some injury that you're like, you can still go out there and run and catch a ball. And he decides not to.
Cortland, I ain't know if you knew this or not, but me and Jonnu Smith follow each other on Twitter, man. So he might see this tonight. I just wanted to let you know.
Man. Hey, man.
Guys got some talent, man.
I think what they're trying to do is recapture that Aaron Hernandez and Gronk vibe. That's why they signed Jonnu.
Definitely.
They're trying to recapture that because you got the athletic tight end in Jonnu, which was Aaron Hernandez, and then you got Hunter Henry, who they want to compare to Gronk probably. But I think that's what they're trying to capture over there with that. I like the Jonnu Smith signing. I
like it too. Yeah, Cortland.
I like it.
I like it too.
Yeah.
I like what they got for it, but they overpaid for him. That's my only gripe is they really overpaid for Jonnu Smith.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like his market was overhyped because he's the best tight end available this year. Because if you have a guy like if you had guys like Travis Kelce and those guys come out be free agents this year, Jonnu Smith's value goes it plummets because you're like, okay, is he those guys? No, is he 1,000-yard tight end? I think not. And then I'm still trying to see what's going on with Zach Ertz.
Coach going to trade for him. That's what's going to happen.
I can see that.
We might have to fight for that one. Because once they announced it, I was like, one of my best friends is a Eagles fan, and I was like, go ahead and call y'all front office, tell them, go ahead and take this third round compensatory pick off our hands and give us Zach. And he was like, man, y'all might do it. I was like, yeah, we need him.
Hey, that's what I called for with Wentz. I called for a second round and a third round, and that's exactly what we gave him. So, hey,
that's might take going to be a first, man.
Oh, it is. He's going to play. He's going to play 75% of the games.
Oh yeah.
Or we going to make the playoffs.
I don't think Ballard makes 2 big trades. I've never seen Ballard make 2 big trades in the offseason. He makes that one big trade, and you'd be like, dang, really? And then after that,
like Buckner last year.
Yeah, man, that hurt my heart, man. That hurt my heart.
Essentially quiet. No, man, San Francisco was tanking, bro. I'm sorry.
Huh? What's that?
San Francisco was hurting players on purpose. They was tanking.
Okay then. All right. All right
There's no
then.
way you
I'm gonna
make-
be quiet. I ain't gonna say nothing.
Hey,
I'm
Mike,
gonna
there's no
be
way you
quiet.
make
I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good today.
There's no
I'll
way
be
you
good,
make the
but
Super Bowl
go ahead,
and then
man.
all of a sudden, you make the Super Bowl and all of a sudden the whole team just decides to bite the bullet on the injuries. Nah,
Man,
I'm
look.
sorry.
Look, man, that was serious right there. People was for real getting injured, man.
That
That's all right, though.
hey,
That's all right,
that
though.
or
That's all right,
that
though.
or that Soleil was putting bone softener in they water.
Come on, man.
To go to New York.
Look, I'm gonna send Javon Kinlaw to your house for that. I'm gonna send him to your house for that, man.
Hey,
I'm gonna call him and say, look, we need to send him to your house. Come on.
I ain't got it.
Corlin needs a visit.
I ain't got to answer the door.
Hey, he breaks down doors.
He better do that this year.
Hey, he's 6'6" and 310 pounds. He did a lot last year.
I ain't gonna lie to you. If I could have Javon Kinlaw on the Titans right now, I'd take him to heartbeat.
Nah, but he's all
I'm
ours.
just-
He's all
I'm
ours,
just
though.
I'm just messing with you. Though.
Nah. But y'all got tag team in there, chocolate sprinkles. Y'all got that.
All right, we got
Good.
it. Yeah, I'll take it.
All right. Speaking of, let's see. Who do you think was the best pickup for the Houston Texans, Corlin?
I'm gonna say Shaq Lawson.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Shaq Lawson. I think he's.
Hey, and also I'm gonna tell you this before you get started.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to pick on you, but we gotta keep the answer short, man, because we over an hour right now, bro.
No, I get it. I get it. I think Shaq Lawson was the best pickup for them. If you look at what they lost in Jadeveon Clowney a couple of years ago, and then they haven't had a consistent pass rush. Merciless, I think Merciless is still there. But Lawson still has some kick. He could see that kind of, and the reason I got him and Barrett mixed up is because of the first name. But they also their play style is eerily similar. He's a very good bull. He's a power rusher. His first step when he's healthy is amazing. He can see that kind of career resurgence with the Texans, and he just might be the anchor that defense needs to build on. So with them losing JJ Watt. So I think Lawson comes in, gives you at least maybe 6 to 8 sacks. I'm lowballing them there because they don't really have anybody. So I think he gives you 6 to 8 this year.
Okay. Just to give you a heads up, not to be confused with Shaq Thompson that plays for Carolina Panthers either.
Shaq Thompson wishes he was one of those Shaqs.
Yeah. But he is one of the linchpins of the Carolina's defense. You take it for what it's worth. I got nothing else for you. But
Danny Thompson would say differently.
All right, hey, I'm not bringing Danny into this one because you already know how he feels about the Carolina Panthers. But I'm sorry, John, Chris, y'all don't know, but we got a friend that we work with at 3-point conversion, Danny Thompson, and he hates the Carolina Panthers. He calls them the Kitties. So just wanted to give you a little context as to why we're talking about Danny Thompson. But yeah. As far as me, I'll take the Jacksonville, and I'll say the best signing there. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna go with. Got to go with the safeties, man. I gotta go with the safeties. I'm gonna go against the whole green, and I'm gonna go with the safeties. Which is it? Let me get that name right. Rayshon Jenkins. They need safety help. I know they need line help. I know that they can't stop the run, and that their line is like one ply tissue paper. I know, but I will say the safety, he can clean it all up. He can come down the box. He can go back deep, and he also is from the area. So there you go. That ties it all together. That's why he's my best signing for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they won't be 1-15 this year.
So
they will be 6-10. I give them 6-10 this year.
Okay. St. Pete in the house.
They got to play Houston twice, so that's two. That might be 2 wins right there.
2 dubs.
They might cancel each other out. You never know.
Yeah, you're right. They might mess around and have have a bad news Bears game.
Two ties.
They believe in the offensive line. They didn't add any pieces to it, so we'll see.
Well, they did add your favorite guy, Cam Robinson, back on the franchise tag, but we ain't gonna talk about that tonight because I already know you can talk about that for hours.
Well, we'll see how that work out. So.
I know that ain't what you're thinking, but we're gonna talk about it later. Let's see. Let's just get a quick overview of what free agency, and what do you think looking forward to when in the draft for your teams. I'm gonna start with you, Cortland, on this one.
Well, with everything that they added, and of course me being essentially a draft analyst for all intents and purposes, I have an internal rivalry with Mel Kiper. But I cannot disagree with one of the picks that he made, which was in the second round for the Titans, Kadarius Toney out of Florida in the second round. When you look at what we added, if you don't add another wide receiver in a free agency this year, I think slot receiver is a spot that you need to fill. Amari Rodgers was my pick. I also kind of like Tylan Wallace out of Oklahoma State. Who's a really good receiver, 6 feet tall. He's a very good technical guy, very good hands, showed out in the Senior Bowl. But in the first round, I have 2 picks, and I think that these or 3 that I think the Titans should really target. And actually 4 now that these 40 times are starting to come out. Jason Owe out of Penn State ran a 4.36, I believe today, and that's faster than his all states. And I believe Penn State middle linebacker Michael Parsons, who also ran a 4.39. So when you look at that guy, he's a hand in the ground 4.3 defensive end, but he's going to probably stand up in the NFL. You get that guy thundering off the edge in a sub package with Harold Landry and Bud Dupree. That's a scary combination. Christian Barmore, I think Christian Barmore is another good interior defensive lineman. If you pair him with Danico Autry and Jeffrey Simmons, you really would have 2 scoops and sprinkles, being for real. Because those are 3 big bodies that can really rush the quarterback up the middle. And then you have Bud Dupree and Harold Landry on the outside. Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia. He's another guy that I really like. I think another guy who's stacked. His stock has really kind of fluctuated. He's kind of went up and he's dropped. I've seen him anywhere between the 3rd round and the 1st round. And I think the Titans should take a look at him. And then also secondary help is always at a premium. You can never have too many good corners. It's never a bad idea to have 4 or 5 guys that can come in and play man coverage on anyone. And J.C. Horn, who, by the way, is the son of former Saints receiver Joe Horn, is amazing. And he's been slated in the last couple of mock drafts to the Titans, and I would love to see a guy who's 6'1", has fluid hips, can turn and run with the best of them, playing cornerback alongside Christian Fulton and Jack Rabbit. So those are 4 guys that I think the Titans should target in the first round. And then, of course, the second round, I think you go defense and then wide receiver, or you can flip-flop it. But the Titans haven't had really good luck with first-round receivers, and that hasn't been remedied with John Robinson. So maybe that's a curse on our team from doing Derek Mason dirty or something. I don't know, but
yep.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I don't know.
No, I'm just saying. So, but yeah, I think the Titans. I think defense draft heavy is going to be on the defensive side. I think you need to get some guys in that front 7. Maybe a linebacker, pass coverage linebacker. As much as I love Rashaan Evans and what he brings to the table, he is not a 3-down linebacker. First and second down, he's great. He can kind of cover in short areas in the pass game, but we need guys who can cover those 3rd and long situations and keep track of a tight end when he's outside of their field of view. So I think you get a pass coverage tight end. Jayon Brown coming in is great, and I think we saw very good things from Long Jr., who played very well last year. But unless you really trust Long to come in as a third down linebacker, I think you draft another guy, maybe the 4th or 5th round, that can pass cover tight ends. And I think corner, DB, safety Safety. Safety is another one. Do you really trust Malik Hooker?
Corlin,
What's up?
man, you know you named the whole team, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. But we need a lot. We need a lot, man.
I'm picking with you, man. I'm picking with you.
Yeah. We need a lot.
But hey, you did name one guy that you talking about players' sons, J.C. Horn. Actually, you named Rodgers. Did you know that Rodgers, the wide receiver from Clemson, is T. Martin's son? Did you know that?
Wow. No, I did not. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's T. Martin's son, man.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
No, I'm
That's
old,
interesting.
man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, we need a lot, man. We got a lot of holes. I think this team, the Titans, are a really good team.
Look,
but we got a lot of
man.
holes.
You said y'all got a lot of holes. Y'all got a lot of defensive holes. Let's get it right. Defensive holes. We ain't gonna say a lot of holes. That's being nice. But we gonna. I know. But yeah, go ahead, Chris, man. So as far as your team, man, how do you think free agency, the outlook, free agency, and towards the draft? What do you think what can you expect from the team?
Yeah, so with free agency, I mean, like I said before, like we don't make a lot of moves in free agency. Like we'll get maybe one big trade, but under Chris Ballard, we like to save our money and we like to make our splashes in the draft. So one thing the Colts do need to address is an edge rusher. And so I've seen a couple mock drafts now where they're talking about taking Gregory Rousseau, which I'm a Miami Hurricane fan, so I wouldn't mind having him come over to the Colts. And now he didn't play last year because of COVID and everything, so he sat out. But the year he did play, 2019, I believe he had like 15 and a half sacks or something like that. So he's 6'7", 250 something pounds. So I think adding him in the first round, 21st pick would be good. We could also go offensive tackle there and get Leatherwood from Alabama if he's still on the board. Or even if he's available in the second round, we could probably get him in the second round. But I think those are the two issues that we need to address: is left tackle and edge rusher. And I mean, really, we don't have a lot of holes right now, just because they've been able to really draft pretty well. Now, I don't know how Paris Campbell's going to come back after his injury last year, but maybe address receivers somewhere down the line. But I think that's where we go.
Gotcha. And John, we gotta save you for last, man. I'm not saying that we're not doing that because Jacksonville was 1-15, man. It's just the way it worked out, man.
Yeah, that's right.
They got
go right ahead. It's all yours, man.
The number one pick, obviously, you know who they're gonna get with that. It'd be Trevor Lawrence, but I think they got 10 picks in this draft, and obviously they got to get a tight end. I would look for like a tackle, offensive tackle, and I like the kid at Clemson. I think they need another speed back at running back, maybe a third round pick and get Travis Etienne or somebody like that. I think they need a little bit more explosiveness on the offense, like more playmakers, and but they definitely need to address the tight end situation. Hey, man, do something bold. Try to move up. Get Cal Pitts or something. Do something out of the box. This franchise has to do something out of the box. I know that Lawrence is a great quarterback. We all know where he's going. He's going to Jacksonville, but I don't think he's the savior without him getting more, help around him. And this franchise got to do those things. To me, they didn't look like they did enough in free agency. And you have to get talent on the field. So do something bold, man. Give up some picks, some future picks, and move up and grab a guy that could be a superstar for this quarterback. I think they need that. I think they need to get. It look like to me they used the free agency to address the defense, use the draft to plug your holes for your offense and get more speed and explosiveness and guys who can get into the end zone. And I like that Kyle Pitts, man. He's a great player. I don't know if they can do something to get him. That would be a remarkable for this franchise, man. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
What I heard is, it's a double secret plan that they got. what they're gonna do, right, is they're gonna, take these picks, and then they got, pictures of Arthur Blank, and they're gonna kind of say, hey, Arthur, if you don't trade that pick to us, he's coming out. And then they're just gonna sneak right there. But no, I'm kidding, man. They don't have any picks.
Well, John, I mean, I know you said Kyle Pitts. I don't think you gonna. I don't think you move up for Kyle Pitts in that situation. And the only reason I say that is because he's not a pass blocker, or I said a run blocker. And that team they're gonna kind of run the ball. Urban Meyer's gonna run the ball with a young quarterback, but
they got man hits.
Yeah, Pat. But you look at another guy's out of Penn State, Pat Fryermuth. That's his name. Yeah. He's a very good tight end, and he's going to definitely be there around the second round, third round. And I think the Jaguars have like one of the top 3 picks in the second round, so they can definitely make him a Jaguar, and he's going to be consistent. He'll be consistent for around. I would say he's going to be one of those guys like Jason Witten, who's around for 20 years, and for some reason floats around the Jaguars organization for 2 decades.
Hold on, time out. I'm gonna throw a timeout right there. Who was the last tight end that stayed a long time down there in Jacksonville, Mr. Reed?
No, is that about Mercedes?
Yeah, there you go. And how long ago was that, sir?
Hey, well, he's been gone since 2017. I mean, he left before the 2018 season. But they haven't had anything at tight end position, man.
But Mercedes Lewis was good. But here's the thing: Mercedes Lewis was good, and I used to hate him because he would, for some reason, we would be up on Jacksonville, and all of a sudden, here comes Mercedes Lewis making a clutch catch, and it's like, did y'all forget? Y'all forgot he was there, huh? Like,
be quiet the whole game, and then go out there and make so happen.
That's the last one they had a tight end that can make a clutch catch too.
Man, the man would have one catch for like 5 yards, and then in the third, between like the second half of the third and the fourth quarter, the man would end the game with like 5 catches for 52 yards and 2 touchdowns. You just like, where did he come from?
Oh my goodness, man, this has been fun. This has definitely been fun. You gotta excuse me. I guess I had fun trying a little bit of my comedy hour tonight. But Cortland knows this is my usual personality when it comes to talking sports and being silly. He already knows how I am. So, but I just want to thank y'all for coming on again. And if you would give the audience, whatever information you can, how they can reach out to you, how they can listen to you, how they can read your work. Whatever you want to give them. I'm going to start with you, Chris. The floor is yours, man.
Yes. So you can listen to Drop Balls podcast on pretty much any major podcast platform. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, all of those. Also, my YouTube page, Redacted Media. It has the 2 little bars around Redacted, and media is by itself. But yeah, you can go on YouTube, look up Redacted Media. It's a YouTube page I share with some of my friends. But all my sports stuff is up there. And follow me on Twitter at DropBallsPod. I'm usually on there every day talking about some type of sports, whether it's boxing, basketball, football. Baseball's coming up soon, so I'll be talking about that a little bit as well. But yeah, that's everything right there.
Now,
somebody loves baseball. Thank you.
I just listened to your newest one, man. I listened to your newest one this week, man. Good work.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. John Reed, the floor is yours.
You can catch me on Jacksonville.com, and I'm on Twitter at JohnReed64. And
now the 64 stands for as many touchdowns as you scored over your career, right?
Yeah, you add it up to the Pop Warner through high school and
there you go.
That fledgling college career, yeah.
There you go. You got to represent. There you go. Portland.
Like Mike said before, you can find me on the 3-point conversion. I will be working with our other draft analyst, Derek Worley, on a final mock draft coming before the draft. So keep an eye on that. You can also find me on Twitter, CMG the Sports Nerd, on there. I'm normally like I try to live tweet games here and there, but mostly I share a lot of articles and or give my kind of Skip Bayless one-off little tweets here and there. But mainly just find me on the 3-point conversion. And all my work is there. All of my work is exclusively on the 3-point conversion.
Okay. Now you just compared yourself to Skip Bayless, man. No, bro.
Hey, Skip. Sometimes Skip be captivating with what he say. And the only thing I'm saying is, I'm not saying that I'm Skip Bayless as far as I say off the wall things. I'm saying I'm captivating in what I say.
At least you admit Skip say some off the wall things.
I'm a very.
You see him trying to clean it up. You see him trying to clean it up, Chris.
Saw something Skip said today, and I was like, man, come on, Skip. You can't be out here doing all this, man. All this slander you out here throwing.
I'll wait for like the Lakers to play a game, and immediately after the game, like I'll be watching the Lakers game, and like LeBron can hit a logo 3 that's almost impossible. And Skip Bayless, it'll be the first quarter, and Skip Bayless like throw a tweet like LeBron was front running. You just be like, yo, how did you? It's the first quarter, bro. Like, you be like, come on, man. How you front running the first quarter?
I bet if you're real quiet, and none of us live in California, so I bet if you're real quiet and you listen just a little bit, about 2:00 in the morning, you hear Skip wake up yelling LeBron.
Oh, nightmares, man. Like that Gatorade commercial with Dwayne Wade and KD.
Oh my goodness, man! I tell you what, well, boy, Skip Bayless, I tell you. But what I'll say is this: I'll give my information. You can find me on Twitter at MikePatton82. You can find me here every week on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, doing the broadcast every week, every Thursday, and maybe on Special Tuesday show, which I had a Special Tuesday show with a week or so ago. Anyway, you can also catch me writing on the 3-point conversion, which I got to get up on some more Titan stuff. You can also catch me freelance writing for the Nashville Voice and for the Tennessee Tribune. And I have something pretty special coming. I believe it's coming tomorrow on an actual guy that's from Nashville that's going to be a draft prospect. I actually got a chance to interview him and do an article for him.
Interesting.
That'll be out, and you may know this guy. You may know him. You may know him. For them. Okay. Yeah. So
I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Yeah, it'll be out probably tomorrow or something like that. I got to get with the editor to find out, like, hey, is it dropping tomorrow? Dropping Saturday? Just let me know when it drops. But then also got another interview of another player as well coming that's going to be in the NFL draft, and that'll be another feature article for him as well. That'll be for the Tennessee Tribune though too. And I got something else planned, but y'all just see that when it drops. All right. But, thank y'all for coming on. Appreciate y'all. And let's let it not be the last time y'all come on. Cortland, I know this ain't going to be the last time you come on because,
you'll see a lot of me. I'm here.
Nah, man, I'm going to have to mute you some days, man, because you be, like, breaking down the square root of pi and giving us, like, the round-the-way version of it. But you still cool with me. You cool with me, though. You cool with me.
This brain works. This brain works in a mysterious way. I tell you.
I don't know, man. I was about to say it works like Rain Man sometimes, and that big old formula that was on the hangover screen.
Man, sometimes I don't even know. Sometimes.
I know. You gave the whole breakdown of the whole Tennessee Titans needing a whole new team. I know.
Call it like I see it, man.
We lost John, but hey, thank y'all again for coming on. Thank everyone for watching and listening to, of course, my nonsense and sports talk, and just thank you all for the great sports minds that were here tonight. Y'all have a good night, and hopefully have a great weekend. We're out. Peace.
sure.
Peace.